What up, Bert? Yeah. Sorry for the late start. Mother-in-law messaged and just feeling a bit under the weather, and then had no energy, which is kind of how I felt when I had COVID. Well, she's positive, so we had to take her some stuff. So late start, but solid reason why. Oh, we. Oh yeah, I think should be okay. We'll catch it quick, and we've got a good bit of meds, so. All right, well, let's dig in. I'm gonna can't decide yet. What do y'all want? A few member charts, or Bitcoin first? I guess we can. People probably choose Bitcoin. Alice, man. Man, all that move up was negated in one quick move. So I would say you need to get above 1268 to get back up. I'll get back to this a little bit more in depth, but I'll just say for now, it needs to close this 4 hour above. So it's got a little bit of work to do. It needs to close above this zero line. Got the value area low here at 1244. So I mean, it's a low risk, I guess. You would enter in here with the hopes that it's going to get above. So it'd be something. It's 4%. I guess you'd want to get back up to the top range, maybe value area high, but that's basically where this rejected from. So you'd want to see it get up and out. All right, so I've been updating in the trading rooms the last few days with what I expected with Bitcoin. Let me actually go back to when I first did this. So right before we got the move down, I basically said, posted to the group and said, you know, careful here. This is kind of what I expected. We had just lost this monthly level here after popping above. And I said, if we're going to hold, this is what I'd like to see. Sweep, reclaim yearly open, and then get up here to this weekly OB and ultimately test it and get in it. But it could have, you know, come back down here, then gone. But this is what I wanted to see. I said if it's going to reject, it's going to look something like this, where it comes down, sweeps, looks like it's going to hold yearly open, and then lose. Screwed around a little bit longer than I expected, to be honest, because we swept, or we got close to sweeping. We swept on Bybit, but then the overall index, which is the average of multiple exchanges, did not until yesterday. And I posted, you know, is that the liquidity we need? And we got the move, but just no follow through. So then you see the move down. And let me know if volume is good, if music's too loud or anything like that, but it should be okay. But ultimately you see we got the drop, we got the pop back up. So it looked like, oh great, you know, it's within a few hours of me posting the green, we got this move, but then we didn't sweep the lows, right? We didn't gain this liquidity that was right here. But at first you're like, well, that's great. But then we continue to reject. Then we swept, right? You see here, this was the low. We swept it on all exchanges. Tested the weekly here. And then you would be looking for this test again at yearly open. You want to confirm that and move out. And it looked good. You know, overnight, everything's pumping. Held. Right, that was the hourly. It held here when it fell, but just everything just kept rejecting. Then a few hours ago, I let everyone know, hey, this is not good that we're rejecting here. So Wednesdays a lot of time are liquidity driven, right? If we've been sideways. Wednesdays, if you look at volume and volatility and all that across, for some reason, Wednesday is the day that you get the move. So what I thought this would look great, and it looked perfect based off when I drew it. this was ultimately the move. We got much higher here, but obviously we didn't create a new high. So ultimately it just went to the extreme of the range here. All right. But didn't create a new high, right? If you wanted it to create a new high, you'd want to trade above this price. It didn't. So ultimately that was the move. I've been telling people I wanted this 3-month level and bottom of this monthly OB. If we tagged it, great. You don't really want to lose it, and you don't want to hang around too long. So that's where we're at now. All right, so here we are. We're live now. So is that, are we done? Are we, I don't know. You'd want to see follow through. And this is what you want to gain. This is the biggest area on the chart now. If we were to get back up above yearly open and hold and test and move out of here, then to me this was a sufficient correction down, and likely going to do something like we did here, right? Where this wick, let me clean it up a little bit. Right, remember yearly open. Right, so here was January 2021. Pushed off, came back, tested it. Obviously created the new all-time high. Came back. Wick touched it, and then we just bled down. Didn't create a new low. We'll look at, I know that a lot of people have compared this, but right, you look at this. And you look at this and you're like, wow, that's pretty good comparison here, right? Come down, bounce, come back down, but don't create a new low. Potentially that's what we're doing. I don't think so. It's just right with Sam's count and all that. Sam's been pretty spot on with what he thinks, and he thinks a little bit lower first. If this is going to be a running flat, right, you'd be thinking, here's your running, right? A, B, C. Don't create the new low. But we do have a 3-month, 6-month level here at 35 that could be retested. Now, could we just come down here and retest this yearly open? Sure. Could we do even better and come down here? Absolutely. Right, then you get your expanded flat. Max pain. Max pain. So I don't, to answer the question I see, are we going up? No, not right now. There's no reason to think that. I mean, this is not what you want to see if you were. You could have a long here, obviously. I mean, you're not looking for shorts here. At least I hope you're not. I know someone asked me, you know, am I looking for shorts? No, shorts were up here and up here at the sweep. At this point, you'd be looking for longs, thinking we're going to bounce, but that's just, I mean, because your invalidation is close. For shorting, your invalidation is, I guess, above yearly open at this point, but there's nothing to say that coming back up here and sweeping it can still happen and still not create a higher low. So are we going up? Not until we see some higher lows and we see some holds. So what I would want to see is something like that. You can buy that. Your invalidation would be obviously new low, but right, Sam always says just you wait for that move back. Then you can go long with a good stop. But so far, I mean, there is divergence, but you can certainly wipe that out just by pushing, right? Then you say, oh, well, there's no more divergence. Barely any on the 4 hour. So I'm short from a short scalp from up here when I saw it. It may turn into a swing, but it initially was a scalp, just thinking if we create a new low without any volume and it regained levels. So at this point, I'm just riding them. Take your profits, smart areas, and then put your stop and let it run. So ultimately, what do I think we do? And the bigger picture, I like this. I like the running flat idea. Until we break this, to me, that's all I would be expecting. So y'all know me, I like the MZ Monte zone here that I've come up with, and you can see it overlaps the 236 here, the bearish 236 from the same pull, but opposite. You've got a 3-month, 6-month level in there, and you've got a daily naked point of control at 34.5. So this area's got some really good support. So my thought is we get here. I don't think we just do this. I think we could get in this area, then have a bigger bounce, right? Get everyone bullish again, then you would have move back down here. We've already, on the daily, you can see we've fallen here to the Monte zone bounce and then rejected this 3-month. So if we get, let's just say 39. That lines up pretty good, right? So 39, so that's a 382. That's the 618 of this move. So maybe it could get all the way back up there, but you got your golden zone here, you got the Monte zone there, but the important thing to look at here is, so if it gets here, look at where the target is, right? Your algo is right here, 35 even, which is right where everything is at. So that's some more confluence to look at. We just fell from just macro POC range. So this is kind of what I work with, this 8 chart format. And I've got a specific purpose for each one. So I don't have everything on one chart. Nice, Tarmo. I did scalp it, but you can see it hit. It hit perfectly. I mean, yeah, I mean, in the stream yesterday, I told you that 3-month level and the bottom of that monthly OB is where I expected either to hold or bounce, and we obviously got a nice bounce out of it. $610, right? So if you put a Bitcoin or two, you could have sold the pullback like you did, make $1,000 and call it a day. But right now it doesn't look great, right, to hold. So you were right in buying it and selling the pullback and then see what happens. And this would be your frame of reference that you don't want to necessarily lose this area, which it, you know, obviously does not look great at all. So where do we start to look under this? 41.3 is a monthly level. $40,100 is a weekly level. And obviously this is the area we were looking. Look at all of the levels of support we've got in here at 35. Right, we add in what we came up with earlier, and there's our range. Fibs, levels, algos, daily naked point of control. So if we get in here, this is where I'd be looking for bottoming formation, right? I don't expect this, where you just instantly come out. You would expect something of this nature, where you build up open interest, you get people bearish again that, oh my God, we're going to new lows. Then you come out of this, right? You're going to have your head and shoulders people. You can see it here. Oh, here we go. We're going all the way, you know, here's your head and shoulders. We're going this deep, however far this is, because the target would be wherever the neckline would be. But I'm happy to hear that, Tarmo. I'm happy for you, man. Keep it up. I know you got wrecked with your limit here, your stop limit. So hopefully you made some of that back here, and that just goes to show you that if you have good levels, you can buy them with confidence, make some good money, and sit back and wait for another area. It's just patience. So this chart is deviation, perfect pull. I'm not going to go into how I got the levels. I have that for educational members. but these levels are very important. You can see right here, perfect 48.5 rejection. If you're going based off of the deviations that I've got, 39.4. We don't stop till we get here. So there's some confluence there. Bottom of the channel that's proven to be meaningful. Come out of it, but now we're back into it. These are going to be lower time frame deviations. And I'm sure if you zoom in here, you'll see how. There you go. Bounce. Looks kind of like a median line here between these two. Rejection here. We just hit this one, which also was the 3-month level. This red line, because it's where we stopped initially. Now we've lost that. Let's go to the 1 minute and probably rejecting. No, I don't think this is important here on this exchange. You know, this is index, right? So this takes multiples into consideration, right? If there's one that was much bigger, like I know Binance was deeper, I think, because some went to 38 or 39 already. So if it's on the exchange, I may put some more weight, but this index, I don't really, to me, I think of it more like this. So I know Elliott Wave, Sam, Tuts, you know, all the guys at Elliott Wave, they always take this into consideration. I don't, with the way I trade, or at least the way I do analysis. This was a liquidation wick. This was a third wave of something. Third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, right? Take it off. There you go. Third, fourth, fifth. Then we've got whether or not this be A, B, C. Then we've got something new started here. You take this into consideration, you're calling this a third, fourth, and then you've got a fifth here. So This might be one you want to put on your chart. It's wild. Most of what I do is wild though. All right, starting point is over here, January 7th, 21, the high. And then you just use absolute top over here, not this sweep top. And then this low, not the absolute low. Right, reason being, line chart, you've got the absolute top here. That's where the candle goes. You've got the low here. You got the high here. And look at how it's reacted. All right, this is a daily. Median line, perfect, perfect. Hold, hold, rejection. So now, where do we stop, right? You've got 0.25 level here, and that's why I've got a little bit more bold. Or you've got the 50 here. Right, I want 39.4 looks good. We've got some confluence here where we were previous support here. It's not a 50 level, but I might put some bids here just in case for a wick, right? Liquidation wick to come down, tag this. That would probably sweep. No, probably not. I don't guess so. That'd be 30. That'd be a little deep, 37. But I wouldn't mind sleeping. I think we just got a new subscriber. Thanks, John Howard. I wouldn't mind sleeping with some orders down here at 37.6 to 38. Normally I don't sleep with orders open, but yeah, nothing's too deep for KU coin. Just put orders at 26. This is the actual spot I thought when we were coming down here. When I first showed how I did the perfect pull to members, I said, here's where I think we stop. And maybe it still happens, right? We could still come here. It just took much longer than I expected. All right, so let's add some confluence levels in. All right, so you got median line of that pitchfork. Was a buy here. Obviously your risk had to be good if you were, didn't have a stop loss. Risk had to be good because it did squeeze down here. But then you can see once the liquidation quit and then everything was back to technical trading, you can see bounce here on the deviation. You've got this area of resistance, first squeeze through, but lost it. Then you can see sweep. Right, swing failure pattern, swept it, stopped everyone out who was short and had their stops here. Filled some big guys and instantly, bam, right back to deviation, median line. Bounce, reject, and you've got another deviation level with pitchfork. And from that point, you just grinding into support until you lost it. About right here is where I notified members, hey, I don't like this. We're losing yearly open, which was 46.2. Let me put it in here actually. I swear TradingView has changed some things where you have to be perfect with these now. All right. So right in here, I was saying be careful. We dropped, had a nice hold right at the low, but then pushed up, rejected here, and I got a nice short in at this area with the expectation we were going to lose this. Stop was above this high. There's your 50. So, I mean, there's all kinds of confluence areas here. From this drop, 50, median line, you've yearly open, and you've also got a deviation, which you can see on the 15-minute time frame. It rejected at every candle. So now you look for confluence areas of if we're going to hold. We've got a deviation. This is 50. We've got pitchfork area. That's the median. So this is 0.125 right here. Got that looks like a decent area for a potential scalp. Maybe even hold, you don't know, because that's the 0.25 of the pitchfork, so that's a pretty big area. I personally like, just based off of deviation, I guess, just what I'd like to see with the deviation is this hold. But any of these levels is where I'd be looking for bounce area. And this is, again, just based off of deviations of a perfect pull and a pitchfork that I came up with that I showed you. Right, I also had, based off of this chart, monthly at 41.3. So where's that at? That's right in between this area as well. Weekly 40,117. So 40,117 is right here. So again, weekly, monthly, more confluence. So now 15-minute just closed 1 minute ago, and you can see how once the 15-minute closed, it closed under this deviation, which is to me a purposeful loss of this level. But now we need to retest here. So now on the 1 minute, watch it likely hit its head in here. It might deviate above it, or it may just reject perfectly, but I think getting above this on the 3 minute there you go, right? So this is on the 1 minute, so it can certainly spike above, but that's pretty spot on right now. That's just the pitchfork. If I'm scalping, I typically do the 3 minute though. I take more weight on the 3 minute, so that resistance is here. On the 15 minute, I want to close this 15, which closes in 12 minutes. I want to close that under here. And then that just continues the move down. Where I stop shorting, which I'm not shorting right now, at least any new shorts, is a reclaim on the 15 minute. Probably this level. And I will look for rejection of potentially that deviation. And again, these are all scalps. I'm not looking to short anything, assuming we just get this rip down here. It's an area I long if I get there, but everything I'm doing now is just a scalp. Besides my short I did up here, right? Yearly open. That one's profits are taken when we created a new low, in case we again, right, swept and did this. Profits taken here. Stop now above this blue deviation. Right, so this 3 minute rejected, so now we push a little higher. We can come back to this in a minute. So these are levels, order blocks, daily naked pointer controls. These are deviations based off the perfect pull. These are value areas. And I've got them distributed over here in different ways, right? So this was the macro value area, which I can show you here. So I made this back on December 19th and shared with members saying, here's, right, we need to get above macro value area high if we're going to continue up. And it at first we rejected perfectly, popped above, retested it, swept, right? So that was bull trap completely. And that was also on December 26th. So everyone's enjoying Christmas away from their computers, probably have they're with their families, because it's, let's see what time that was. So it was December 27th. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. So for America, that's 7 a.m. Right, because if the daily close or daily open was at actually 6 a.m. Now the time changed. So that was 6 a.m. Sweep. Just after Christmas. And then ultimately, once you lost this again, you're thinking bull trap. Sweep, move down. Now you got problems. So I can actually extend this now that we have more data. And our POC changed. So now I would move all of these. This is something you do have to do just with developing data. All right, and so I call this macro value area because I'm just taking all of this into consideration. Now, if you really want to say what's macro is this would technically be macro, but look at what I mean. POC is $138. You could do it from here, right? Do it from this move. And look where COVID bounce was. Look at where 3,200 low was, value area low. Look at what kept us all right, so if we're to say that's a value area high, what happened after we gained that on a big time frame? All right, tag it, deviate above it, lose it, but ascend into it. Gain it, and don't ever come back. And that's how powerful value areas can be. So now this is my macro, just because that'll change if we lose this. I'll have to expand this and come up with something else that includes this lower price action. But for now, this is my macro, because I'm still thinking we're in sideways something, right? I don't think this is 3, 4, 5 of the macro picture. I'm thinking something like this, right? So it's sideways. Whether we get to macro value area low, I don't know. But things are looking pretty poor when you just reject on the daily from macro POC. With the swing failure pattern at the top that swept all those levels. Make sure they're all right on. Lock it, and then I close this so I don't have too much on my chart. I'm going to add alert. I want this to come up when we touch this again. Accumulation, right? So this is the area we popped out of before we head up here. And so I've got this green. I consider it accumulation value area. Pretty simple. You just take, since we hit the bounce, all that price action to where we broke out of. You can see how it was pertinent here when we came out of this area, held it, pushed off. And those don't change, right? Macro does, but these don't change. Distributive was just this top. I could add another one that just takes this, but you can kind of see how these were important on this price action. Value area low, popped out of this accumulation range, tag here, and we went straight to value area low of this range. Rejected but held, pushed above, dumped. Then once we got in it, you can see we literally within 2 days went straight to POC. Then you accumulate vertically into it, get in and above value area high, and then that's your support until lost, right? And then again, you just work back into, you lose value area high, you go to POC. If you can't then break out of value area high, you're now accepted back into this range and you're looking back down here. And ultimately, when we bounced right here, right? So here we faked bear trap, lost it, but gained it within 24 hours, so it didn't technically close underneath it. Sweep the highs. Here's where we did close in it, and this one did not come out. Then we rejected it perfectly, and the rest is history as far as just sideways until lose POC. Once you lost POC, down to value area low, and ultimately on that daily candle we lost it. Now I've got current value area because I'm basically taking from where we started this move up. Accumulation went up until I used the current. But I need to update this now. Right. So at this point, if we get, right, we had our 39.5. Let's say we get our 39.5, which is right in here. So you've got value area high of this range on the move up, right, in front of a golden zone. If we come here, right, this could change. This could stop in here at 42. Then we've got a 50 that would show you some confluence. Maybe we push all the way down, right, to 36, 37. Then you've got the golden zone here at value area high. Then that brings in lower with an algo. Now, bring them all out. And I start to paint a little bit, better picture for you. If we get here, are you going to buy? Or are you going to get scared? Based off this, you should buy the hell out of it. Right? Because until lost, who wouldn't want to buy something like this and potentially reject here, reject here? Then we lose it, right? Then you're bearish. But until you lose it, buy support, right? I'm not saying it's going to nuke these levels either. But until we're over this level, I'm looking down. And you've got a kind of a scary range, right? There's not much. Everything that's been in here, that was extremely fast. That was extremely fast. This was pretty damn quick, right? You had a perfect test. Quick move here, quick move there again. Look what's quick again. So this entire range here between 47 and 38 is probably going to be quick because there's just not a lot of volume traded here. And you can see that by the lines, POCs, value area highs, value area lows. value area highs. So it's not the time to be risking much in my mind. You could scalp. Things are going to move quick. But I would be careful. All right, so here's 15 minutes out of this slight divergence, but not a lot. I don't like it because the strength, the move down is still so strong. All right, let's go back here and see what this move looked like. All right, so the 3 minute popped above but was rejected. Now we're testing this 50 level again that I wanted to lose. It's 407 now, so we got our next 15-minute candle, and I said I wanted this to reject. And look, we lost that level. This candle was a full sell all the way up. So now the thought is that this candle is going to reject. What it can do is pop above, even after that nasty ass candle. Pop above and hold on this next 15 minutes. So that's 7 minutes from now. And then you could be looking higher. But so far, these 15-minute closes are telling me more down. So this is a pretty cool indicator shared with the group. It's from Spaceman BTC. So you can search indicators and type in Spaceman and its key levels. But basically it keeps on your chart Monday's high, weekly open, Monday mid, and you've got monthly open, and underneath that is yearly open. But because January and the yearly were at the same time, obviously, that's going to be overlapped on everything until February 1st. And then at that point, wherever price is, that's where monthly open would be, but yearly open is going to stay here. Daily open. But if you're on a low time frame, it's good to know these levels. All right, so we open the daily right here. Here was your monthly and yearly open. So once we lost those, we retested them. Here we lost it, but we didn't lose daily open. Came back above, tested it. Pushed above, lost Monday. Right, so weekly was over here. Monday we pushed all the way up there, so that's Monday's high. And ultimately, once you lost weekly open, you're looking down until you reclaim weekly open. It's also got previous weekly low, and you can see basically when you lost that, it was a waterfall. Swept it, but like I said, 2 candles didn't close under it. The moment 2 candles closed under it, look what happened. previous monthly low. Then there's nothing else underneath that. Just search Spaceman. And then it's key levels Bitcoin, but it works for any asset. All right, you can go to Atom. And there you go. Shows up differently for those. So today's daily open was up here at the highs. Once you lose this, you're looking down. So for Atom, I'm doing this on the fly. EOS dropping to 90. So that means Bitcoin is dropping. So that 15-minute candle did not hold as we were expecting. But for Atom, you've got yearly open, monthly open right in the golden zone. So you could potentially scalp that. But you just look for confluences. Actually, I don't like that high. So I'm going to ignore this high because it just looks like it pushed high on the third wave. Yeah. So my high for Atom is over here. You can see on the line chart the highest is here. So that helps you a little bit with, here's a 50, here's a golden zone. But yearly opens in here. You'll probably put some bids here for a scalp, knowing that it could come down to golden zone. But you'd be looking at it like, just depends on Bitcoin how bearish it's going to be. So this is counter trend at this point. I mean, obviously the big trend is still up, but in this smaller trend, you're hoping we don't just continue nuking, but scalp even to Monday's low, weekly open, previous monthly high, 382, or that previous weekly high. You can have multiple take profits there. So anyway, that's how I use that indicator, just quickly to have on the chart at all times, so I'm not having to always update my levels that I used to do of daily open, weekly open. You have to change every single week. This indicator does it for you. Let me get back to Bitcoin. There you go. Just dropped to previous monthly high. There we go. And there's your 15-minute rejection again from there. Now you're starting to see on the 3-minute divergence. So maybe now we get this higher push up. Right, you can see it here. This is 3-minute though, so it can certainly get wiped out with a stronger push that goes below here and wipes out this. On the 10-minute, there's nothing there, but if you're scalping the 3-minute, $15-minute, still just ugly. Higher time frame, so this is the hourly. You can see once we lost it, rejected it, lost this deviation now. And no divergence now because you created a new low. Not entirely, but it's still pushing. So I expect this now to get deeper than here. So this one here I call a Monte fork, and I'm not going to show how I did it, at least on public. If members want to know, I can show it. Educational members, I'll show it. But these are all pitchfork median lines, and there's a third one there based off another, but that's why we bounce so many times. And now that we lost it, it's not pretty. Certainly not pretty. So 3 minutes still pushing and looking like it probably won't stop until 42,350. $42.6 on this deviation, so that says it's going to lose this as well. So these are all things I look at. And a lot of times if I come in the morning, hadn't looked at the market, I'll make sure these are all on the same time frame. Right now they're not, but I can change it here to do time. I think let me see. There we go. So interval is what you'd want. Same time frame. All right, and if I change this one here to a 15, they all change to a 15. And then I'd be able to look. Oh, there's resistance here. And I can see my cursor on all 8 of them. And I can look across and say, okay, that's a very, very big resistance area. It was support, but now I wish I could do a secondary. But if you look here, when I do here, so here's an algo. That's at that top left median line. That's at yearly open on the 3rd chart right here. On this chart, there's that trifecta there that I talked about. So here we're underneath macro POC. This one is my speed fan chart. I don't know if I'll show that now. But it's kind of how I look at multiple things. And I used to have it all on one chart, right? And it, I can actually show that one. Right, that's here. I'm on a 3-minute, right? See how many lines there are? And it actually slows it way down. Look at how many lines. All right, so if you're looking at it like this, you go eye blind to things. Like what matter? I still look at this, right? Because I want to see where there's a bunch of clusters, but at that point, you're just like, what are you doing? But if you come down to a 10-minute, and they all have labeled, so I know what they are. But you can basically see once we lost all of these, we fought all of them here. Each time the bounce got smaller, right? But I don't want to look at that chart because I'll have an aneurysm if I'm trading off of this. Here's that 42.3-ish area at the bottom. This is a median of a pitchfork. This cleans it up for me. Instead of having everything on one chart, I've got 8, each for its own purpose. And I can decide certain levels based off all of them. All right, so that's enough Bitcoin for now. Probably shared more than I needed to. But expecting to bounce here. I just think we can get down here before anything meaningful. So I think this one's not really relevant. I think this is where it's going to be. This one I do expect to bounce out of, and potentially maybe all the way back up. Maybe here, maybe up to this one. Don't bet the farm, right? Because this thing could still just lose every single level, right? Boom. Boom. Nothing says we have to just, right, you're really, really long here. Oh, Monty said it's going to go. No. It's an area I'd be looking for, and I'd have a bid, but I'm not going, you know, 50 Bitcoin long here, assuming it's going to bounce, right? To just say I'm going to make, right, I'm going to make 50K, 60K on this bounce. No. All right, let me get a few members. So we had Alice. I know Attila asked for Alice. Oof, look at all that red. We got anything green? IOTX. One coin out of all of mine. Nasty. All right. Y'all might be able to hear my son screaming. Let me see if I can find. I guess this one. So this was all the work I did on a previous, basically when we were up here, I was saying drop to macro value area high and then move up, right? Obviously we then got trapped by this daily open we had, which is no longer relevant. This previous all-time high over here. Right, EOS still, I guess, nuking. I don't know. But I made pretty good money here when we bounced. I wanted higher, but that's when the market was turning over. So, yeah, I mean, I had us in this range. I wanted to sweep these highs, but just too bearish. But now we're back at this channel's lows. So are we going to hold here, or are we just going to continue down to value area low? It's not pretty. I can tell you that. Just based off this pitchfork that obviously has some relevance. Median line. So resistance popped above, then it was support. Support grinded into it, came back, and now if we keep pushing, right now that becomes resistance. That is at a 0.5. Yeah. So now that, if you lose this and it becomes resistance, right, let's just say we do Nuke. right? Oh, macro value area low, we're bullish as hell, right? No. Now that we lost this pitchfork parallel is now going to be, it's going to hurt, right? I mean, you can see it. Now it may be higher than these prices here, so you're thinking, oh, we're back in this range. You have to gain this now. If we, I mean, it's hard to say now with Bitcoin and how it's, all right, that's a 50. But I mean, this coin hasn't been out that long, at least on this chart. I'm assuming this is the beginning of it. So really there is no range yet besides what I've got marked. So I mean, what sticks out to me is the Monte zone here. If it takes more time, right, bounces on value area low, maybe gets all the way back up to value area high. Then we've got that bigger move down. Then it hits the golden zone on this area. Then I would say here, right? But if it's just going to be in this capitulation mode, right, so here's a Monte pull from the top. Here was your algo. Rejected the golden zone there. The full pull from here to here. Perfect Monte zone tag. Looking back, you're like, oh shit, that was easy, right? And here I was looking for drop and push above, but now you see this and you're like, well, that was stupid easy to see. Turn off the pitchfork and you can see right here on a daily, rejected. Right, here's your 50. Deviated above, and now daily rejected this 50. So first spot really from this is 977. Well, here's your macro value area low. Already tagged here. Are we going to hold it? So this one, I use this entire daily range, right? From here to here. That's not pretty. Losing this 236. I hate to be this bearish, but I'm just based off what we're seeing here. Likewise, this is the bearish pull. We have been in the Monte zone here and we're trying to hold it. So if we can hold that, what's up, Dread? What a perfect bounce here. But if you're looking at a 15-minute, I mean, it's a good bounce, but look at the strength. Just nasty. So would you, despite a decent bounce, are you going to buy this thinking we're going to move up now? And look how strong it was. I'm not. Not yet anyway, not till I see something come out of it. We are at the low here. We're underneath the area low of this range. We nuked POC and we rejected value area high. One hour line chart. You got some wicks above it, but until you gain that, and ultimately POC of this range, I'm not looking long. Scalps, sure. I mean, this thing is moving up quick right now off a scalp. $0.50, 4%, right? Probably get up to here. You can certainly make money off that, but you buy 1,000 of them and you've got $600. Come on, give me the push. There you go. So that would have been my scalp. I'd have been out. If it goes up here, great. But I would have been out of my long, at least with most of it right here. So anyway, Attila, obviously this is different than what you originally, you didn't post anything, but I guess you were thinking long when we were in here. I'd want to see some things gained, right? Like this value area low, this POC, and ultimately that 7618 to even be interested to continue now looking up. Because when you look at the high time frame, it's just accumulation here. You could see it as distribution, right? At in the Monte zone. So if you lose that, based on this chart and this pull, golden zone's where you're at. Probably in here. I hope that's not the case, but all right, we've got Tolga. He's got good Lord. Ginormous monitor and I can't stream with it. I can't even zoom in on it. Decentraland, so mana. He says bold shot during metaverse hype, but still a viable count. Maybe 1-2 for 5-way, but third is quite extended. And I'm guessing he's wanting this 50 down here, but Tolga, did you look at Sam's count above? Because he had posted a full breakdown. Decentraland as well. So someone requested this yesterday with a tip. So I would look above where I alerted everyone for MonteWednesday and look at his count and see if that's, I think you're looking deeper, a lot deeper, but versus me going into it because Sam just did it, I'll just refer to Sam's. But it's showing down and likely we're probably underneath this 299 already with today's breakdown. Your boy Dill, you had VeChain. And this has now nuked your count. 1, 2. As it created a new low here. Alts are popping up pretty good here. Let me look at, let's look at how this bounced here. All right, so that long scalp would have been good, but now you'd be kicking yourself if you took 100% because looking like it did gain. Not yet on the 3-minute. This likely will, but I would have taken my long profits for the most part here. Maybe had a runner, assuming we get in it, but I wouldn't be happy until we do something like this and come back and test this area, potentially even those lines I had here, test back here and hold, high time frame hold here. So I'm happy with scalps. Oh, I am showing the wrong screen. I pulled a Sam. Sorry. Dylan, you must be Tolga, so I'm going to add you as a moderator so I know you're a member. Like I said here, I would have taken my profits right there at that line I had and then not gotten, not think long bias until we get here. Potentially even test that area where I had the line here. Because reject POC, hold value area low now, then we can start to think long, think long. It'd be, honestly, you'd have to do it here. But you'd be wanting to see a value area high test. I'd be taking some profits, golden zone, Monte zone, and majority right here. All right, now that we confirmed 3 minutes in, we held this level, so now that's probably likely when it starts moving up. Some nice moves though. Let's see what Bitcoin. Oh, so there you go. What did I say? 42.3. Didn't quite get there. 42.3 was based off this. You can see we still haven't gained this parallel. We are above this weekly, but here was your deviation. So still no fireworks really until we're above here. We just bounced because of the deviation, but we're still between two of the pitchfork levels that have obviously been very responsive. So this here is looking good for this being even more responsive. So I like this. Actually, I said this one won't really matter to me. That's a nice bounce though. But on 15-minute, still strong, still pushing down. So unless that was just capitulation, which I don't think it was, still seem still seems like down until you gain this level and ultimately this level. All right, so let me look at VET now. Wild pitchfork. Based off, at least on these, was the daily line. But it was the only way I could get with this movement here to make this react well. This one was off the line as well. I did use the bottom wick. Let me pull it all the way. Oh, that's why I had two different ones. Doesn't look great here, right? Reject. Bounce and lose these levels, and now you're outside of this pitchfork. And you're right at 236, and underneath that, you've got obviously 382, but that's way down there. Perfect pull. We're underneath these two important levels. And looky there. So perfect pull. We're underneath these levels. We're fighting for this one. And look at our confluence. We've got two perfect pulls and a 382. And now you add in a full pull. Look where your algo is. .038, 0.036. That's pretty tight range to have three. 7% range. Doesn't mean we have to go there now. That's a pretty hefty drop. 54%. So unless Bitcoin's just going to nuke, you can potentially even get higher. But because we're out of this needs to get back in and gain 10.5 before I even care about it. This is not one I'd be trading to the upside right now. That doesn't look terrible. So value load tag here. Doesn't look great that we lost POC here, but another hour before that 4-hour closes. All right, so I'm going to change these to macro. And add in this range as my current. And that looks a little better, right? Value area low tag, sweeping these, gaining. So now we only got 1 minute. 1 minute for this hourly. But that's a it's a really good 15-minute candle. Huge engulfing with a retest. So maybe we found a decent low here. More time to develop, but I kind of like it. If we can gain this POC, this is the macro POC, then you start to look above. All right, so I had the macro picture of this looks really bad. Just based on how this is looking, you're outside this, but you play in here, pop back in, then it can look better. So, you know, I don't like to use these wicks here, but some confluence here. I would prefer to use this one. So you can see golden zone here. So if we get above this POC and ultimately above this value area high, you'd be looking for in here, I guess. All right, so that's my thought. Wait to see if we can gain this macro POC. See if Bitcoin's going to behave or we're going to lose this value area low. Then I'd be looking for value area low here, lose that, and then you get potentially ugly, ugly, ugly. But until then, support, resistance, play it. All right. I gotta do these quick. RNDR. This was for fast lane, mark lane. Well, so it did. I don't know when we checked this last, but let's see if this has changed. Yep. All right. So that's my alert for when if we get to this outer range. All right, so I came up with these as our current range based off of the perfect pulls, and they've worked out pretty well. You can have the pitchfork in there if you want, but basically you've got this here, reject, golden zone, come back now and you're bounce, reject a 50, and now you're here. So now it could, if you're going to hold here, push up to the Monte zone, sweep these highs. You know, who knows how long it's going to take, but that's where you could get the bigger move down. Maybe here. But because we've lost macro value area high, we need to gain it again before I could really see these. But if we get up here, I still think we've got some more consolidating to do to get to the outer edge of this pitchfork. And this is kind of what VeChain is doing right here, right? Got out of it, but then can always get back in. with a strong push. Really up to Bitcoin now what it's going to do. If that was a decent low, if we're going to go lower, how dominance is going to do. So this hourly is now in this daily order, or I guess not an order block. It was the fibs. Straight to this MZ. Yep. So now wow. Perfect. $4 even. So now you'd want to see into this and you'd want to gain. But you've got headaches here. So above this, we can look higher. Until then, potentially just accumulate sideways until we get above or break this below. You got some right here. Nice, 405, so you're already %. Not bad, not bad. All right. Sand. So looks like one live stream I did worked out quite nicely so far. We were probably in here. And I was saying short. Looks like the entry was right here at the golden zone. Off the Monte pull here. And it was perfect tag. I had this level as resistance. But you can see right here the order would be enter here, stop above here, and my target would have been down here, but now this is going sideways, so you have to look. Value area low. Perfect pull, 1618. Clearly support, so until we lose that level, that's not coming yet anyway. And you've got this median, which unless it went right now, you'd be catching it over here. So you may not get that deep, especially if this is sideways. So I mean, you are at the low of the range, but oh, they're dirty. Finance. Look at that. Swept. %6. I'm probably missing some good plays right now. So I guess up, man. I guess at this point you'd just be looking. POCMZ, maybe value area high, but I would say I'd be looking here until this is lost. Then with this, then we can maybe get that push lower. All right. You had HNT, but I've never looked at it, so I'm just going to review your chart real quick. You're on the daily. You've got your perfect pull. This looks like you've got it on the daily line from here to here. The reactions look good. I'm sure right here we dropped a little bit after you posted it. It looks good. That golden zone hold right here is really key. So I like it. Good pull. Get above or reject, and you're back down here. You can probably do a deviation between here and here as well. And look at a 50 and probably hit the 50 right here. You know, potentially 0.25 if we're not going to get down here, because there's a lot of support in there. But no, I like it. Good pull. You might do one too from here at the beginning of the listing candle and then pull it up to here and see what happens. Just shoot me a DM with it. But try that as well. Maybe even from the wick to the wick and see what it looks like. See if you have any confluence. All right. Last thing, James wants me to look at FLUX. Whoa. I don't even know. I guess Binance. There we go. here's a pull. I must have already done it, James. Four-hour lost this 13,618. Golden zone, zero line. Six one eight 11618. And pushing back over. You want to see it hold this right in here. I mean, max I want to see it is here. Else you're thinking now down here, potentially POC. But actually, that's what I'd want to see tested right there. And it tested pretty well perfectly. You've got that daily order block right there. So that's your key level for me. You've got the value area low at the bottom of it. You don't want to lose that on a daily. But now your key level to gain is just that order block. But really, right there. If you gain this on the daily, let's be safe and say this one, 305. What's 4 cents? If you can now reclaim that and get out of this order block, watch out. All right. That's 2 hours, 25 minutes. And I can hear my son screaming, give my wife a hard time. So got some good Bitcoin analysis. Let's just look back real quick and see what the chart's doing. All right, slowly pushing up. It's still not over our level, so. $10-minute looks decent, I guess. RSI coiling up. If you get that lower low down here, 41,682, 41,511 area, and the 10 to 15 minute divergence is still pushing up, lower strength. All right, you've got this push up and then this come down here. And you've got price coming here. Divergence pushing up. I feel comfortable with a good long here. Looking to get higher, maybe even here. 44,870. Yeah, and I pulled all my buys right before this stream just because I didn't want to be streaming and all of a sudden be entered into a bunch of positions that I couldn't manage, at least not and give a stream competently at the same time. So, all right, look for gain of this level or move down into this level on divergence for a decent move. All right, y'all be good, and we'll see y'all next time. Bitcoin Friday coming, and I'll see y'all on the server for those of you that are members.